Today I'm excited to show how to install a new X10 Android head unit from ATOTO in a 2014 to 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee. The Jeep Grand Cherokee I have is a 21 that doesn't have the premium audio system or subwoofer, but it does have the navigation. ATOTO was kind enough to supply the head unit for this video. They also provided me with a rear-facing recording camera. Unfortunately, I didn't end up installing the camera as I opted to utilize the OEM backup camera instead. I will have a link to the X10 along with the other items used in this video down in the video description. Upon opening the box, you'll know there's a lot of accessories included with this head unit. These accessories include 2 screen protectors, 2 manuals, a SIM card, 2 metal cages, a plastic DIN pocket, mounting brackets, mounting screws, removal tools, microphone extender, a USB cable for external storage devices, a second USB cable for front and rear recording camera storage, 2 RCA cable bundles, a main wire harness, and a 4-in-1 antenna. ATOTO does a nice job of providing you with most of the items you'll need for the installation. Speaking of installation, one of the key features of this new head unit is that it's Maestro compatible, making installation even easier. The X10 head unit has multiple inputs. Beginning at the right, there is a SIM card slot. Looking at the rear of the unit, there's a main wire harness, an RCA wire harness, HDMI in, microphone in, AM/FM antenna, 4-in-1 antenna, DVR input for front and rear cameras, USB 1, USB 2, a second RCA wire harness, and a digital out. Moving to the left side of the unit, there's a USB input and SD card slot. To begin the installation, you'll need to remove the factory radio. Open the lower storage bin, then pry the radio assembly from the dash, starting from the bottom and work your way around the side and finally to the top. Once you've popped the radio assembly free from the dash, pull it towards you. There will be 3 wire harnesses that need to be detached. After they've been detached, you can remove the radio from the vehicle. With the radio assembly out of the way, you need to remove the amplifier located behind the screen. Remove the 4 7mm bolts holding the amplifier in place. After the bolts have been removed, you'll need to tilt the amplifier inward and then pull it down. This will make removing an amp easier. There are 6 smaller wire harnesses and 1 large harness that need to be detached from the amp. The green wire, located at the bottom of the amp, is the antenna wire. To install a new radio in a 2014 to 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee, you'll need an iDataLink JGC1 dash kit, an iDataLink Maestro ADS-MRR interface module, and an ATOTO AC-AD-SX10 wire harness. If you want to retain your factory microphone, you'll want to also purchase an iDataLink Maestro MIC-1. All of these products together make up a complete plug-and-play installation kit. There is no splicing required. You'll need to transfer 3 main items from the factory radio assembly over to the new JGC1 kit. These items include the air conditioning controls and the 2 air vents. I'll show how to remove the air conditioning controls first. Remove the 6 T9 Torx screws surrounding the air conditioning controls rear panel and the 4 on the back of the panel. The JGC1 kit includes a Torx screwdriver for you. The dash kit comes with a lot of accessories to ensure that you have everything you need, no matter which year or infotainment system that you have for your Jeep Grand Cherokee. There are 2 different color trim pieces included in the kit, bronze and silver. Before you transfer the OEM items to the new dash kit, you'll want to install the correct trim ring. The trim ring will need to be screwed to the black dash piece. This step has already been completed because the entire dash piece has been custom painted to match the Jeep's theme. Remove the 6 T9 Torx screws surrounding the screen's rear cover and remove the cover. This will allow you to remove the air conditioning's back panel. There are 2 AC covers included with the dash kit. Find the one that matches your OEM cover. Remove the remaining gold T9 Torx screws surrounding the AC controls. After the screws have been removed, you'll need to gently push the small black tabs back that are holding the circuit board in place. There are 2 located in the middle of the lower board. I used a small flathead screwdriver to push the tabs back, then I used the included plastic trim tool to lift up on the board. After the boards have been removed, unscrew the last 4 screws holding the boards in place. Finally, remove the button modules. The kit includes 2 different AC control covers. You'll need to match up the covers that allow the middle button module to set incorrectly to the screw holes. I thought I had the correct one at first, but I found I needed to use the other cover as it allowed the bottom of the button module to correctly be inserted into the screw hole tabs. Once you've selected the correct AC cover and have the button modules installed, begin screwing in the modules and dash piece in reverse order from how you removed the OEM pieces. Push in the circuit boards. Make sure they click into the small locking tabs. Grab the new AC controls cover, install onto the kit, and screw it in. This completes the AC control assembly install. Now we need to remove the AC vents and install them onto the dash kit. The vents are held into place by 2 clips at the top, 2 on the side, and 1 at the bottom. To remove a vent, gently pry back on the 2 top clips. Pull the vent away from the dash piece, away from the side clips. The vent should release completely. When you go to install the vents, install them in reverse order. Begin by pushing the vent into the bottom clip. Line up the two side clips and push the vent into the top two clips. Make sure that the clips snap into place. Once the two vents have been installed, the dash kit assembly is completed. Next, we need to assemble the DIN cage that the X10 will lock into in the dash. You'll need 4 of the mounting screws that came with the X10. They are in the bag with the 2 side mounting brackets. Attach the 2 metal brackets included with the JGC1 kit to the X10 cage and DIN pocket. You will use 2 screws for the cage and 2 for the DIN pocket. Mount the plastic trim piece included with the JGC1 kit to the front of the mounting brackets. This trim will look the same as the trim that the OEM amp was attached to. You will use the 4 black screws that came with the JGC1 kit to secure the trim piece to the mounting brackets. On to the 4-in-1 antenna install. This antenna is used for Wi-Fi, GPS, and cellular networks. There are 2 units connected to the same wire. A larger rectangular unit that needs to be mounted in an area such as the dash, and a second slim unit that cannot be mounted to anything metal. The DIN pocket is a perfect spot to mount this unit. I chose to mount the larger antenna unit on the passenger's corner dash. I began by removing part of the passenger's side door seal. You can just pull the seal away with your hand. Use a plastic trim tool and pop the dash side panel off. Clean the dash with alcohol. Place the antenna approximately where you want to mount it. I tried to position the antenna as close to the windshield as possible. This way I could hide the wires better. I used a plastic trim tool to push the wire into the bottom of the A-pillar. Then I removed the backing on the antenna and stuck it to the dash. To hide the antenna wire as it's ran to the dash, we need to remove the kick panel. To do this, we need to first remove the kick plate. This can be done by simply pulling up on the kick plate. After the kick plate has been removed, you can remove the kick panel by pulling on the back part of the kick panel, which will pop out a rear plastic clip. Next, we need to remove the carpeted panel underneath the glove box. This panel is held into place by 3 plastic clips. Using a plastic trim tool, pull the 3 clips out of the panel. To remove the panel completely, unplug the 2 wire harnesses for the lights, then pull the panel out of the car. With the panel down or removed, run the antenna's wires to the dash. With the antenna wire ran, we need to install the USB auxiliary module in the lower storage bin. This module will replace the OEM module. To get the storage bin out, you first have to remove the shifter and console cover. Open the armrest lid, pop up the console cover with your hand, unscrew the T25 torque screw that holds the shift knob in place, pull up on the shift knob, and finally unplug the 2 wire harnesses and remove the console. Now that the center console cover is out, we can remove the storage bin. Unplug the top wire harness. Unscrew the 4 7mm screws securing the bin to the dash. Pull the bin out. I found I had to close the cover, pull the bin out a bit, then open the cover and turn the bin to the side to get it out easier. There are 3 plugs that need to be disconnected. After they've been disconnected, you can remove the bin from the car. Unscrew the 4 T20 torque screws holding the USB auxiliary module in place. Get the new module, place it in the bin, and screw it in with the screws included with the JGC1 kit. Before we install the bin and dash kit, we need to get the wiring set up. First, you'll need to program the Maestro module. The module comes with a short USB-A to micro USB cable to connect the module to a computer. Log in to iDataLink's website and download the WebLink software. You'll need to register an account before downloading the software. After you create an account, log in. Click on the large blue box that says Flash Your Device in the upper right-hand corner. On the drop-down, click on Maestro. A pop-up will appear. Click on Open WebLink Desktop. When the device software opens, you'll have to log in again. After you log in, click on Maestro Flash. Plug the device into the computer and click on Redirect. Once the computer detects the module, click on the green box that says Flash by Vehicle. Next, select the year, make, and model of your vehicle. Select your steering wheel configuration. Select any required accessories that you've installed, along with the main module. This would be the JGC1 kit. Select your head unit's brand, which would be ATOTO. Select the head unit module, which in this case would be the X10G110E. You will then be asked to enter the head unit's serial number. The serial number can be found on the bottom of the head unit. Next, the software will check for any firmware updates that are available. After the firmware has finished updating, you can add additional accessories such as the MIC-1 we're using for this install. The next screen will have you configure the module to your vehicle system's features such as the steering wheel controls, reverse camera, gauges, climate control, and more. Uncheck any of the features your vehicle doesn't have. Finally, you can set up your steering wheel controls with simple drop-down boxes. When you click on a box to change, the corresponding steering wheel button will light up, so you know exactly what button is being programmed. After you've selected all your steering wheel controls, you can review your configuration and, if satisfied, flash the module. After the flashing process has completed, you can download the installation guide. I would recommend downloading the guide. You will need it to help hook up all the wires correctly. The MIC-1 will need to be flashed separately from the main module. The MIC-1 consists of a small module and 6 wire harnesses. You will not use all the wire harnesses. The MIC-1's setup process is similar to the main module. The main thing to worry about is making sure to update the MIC-1's firmware when prompted. Also, the MIC-1 doesn't come with a USB-A to USB-C cable, so you'll need to purchase one, or if you have a newer cell phone, use its cable. After you complete the setup process, flash the device. Once completed, download the MIC-1's setup guide. Now that the devices have been flashed, we can get them wired up. I first plugged the ATOTO AC, ADS X10, and RCA wire harnesses into the head unit. Next, I connected the smaller end of the wire harness that's included with the JGC1 kit into the AC ADS X10 wire harness. Then I located the yellow RCA cable for the rear camera in the X10's RCA wire harness. After locating the rear camera RCA, I connected it to the same type of connector in the JGC1 wire harness. Next, you'll need the 3.5mm cable that came with the Maestro MRR and the RCA to 3.5mm wire adapter that came with the ATOTO AC ADS X10 wire harness. Connect these two cables together. Now locate the red and white audio in RCAs located in the X10's RCA wire harness. After you found them, connect them to the RCAs of the RCA to 3.5mm wire adapter. To complete the connection, plug the other end, the wire harness plug, into the Maestro MRR. It needs to plug into the same side the computer connection is on. Next, plug in the longer multi-pin plug into the MRR on the side with the red port. On the opposite side, plug in the green plug in the green port. Do not plug in the third plug yet. Now grab the MIC-1. Install the red to red plug wire into the red port. Plug the orange and brown wire into the white port. Plug the Y adapter into the black port, located to the right of the white port. Now plug the Y adapter into the wire you left unplugged from the MRR earlier, and plug the other wire into the MRR next to the green port. Plug the red wire harness into the red port on the MRR. Plug in the orange wire harness into the orange plug coming off the main wire harness. Unplug the small black wire harness with the yellow and red wires. Plug in the wire extension that has the yellow and red wires wound together. This is a Y adapter that will be plugged into the vehicle's CAN bus connector later. The AM/FM antenna will have a blue wire with an insulated spade connector. Connect the spade to the blue wire in the main wire harness. Then plug the antenna into the radio. Finally, connect the wire coming off the ATOTO AC ADS X10 wire harness into the MRR next to the computer port. This completes the wiring for the X10 with the exception of the USB cable, which I will show shortly. Before we can install all the wiring, we need to get some of the factory wires out of the way. I would suggest zip tying the factory wires that aren't needed out of the way. You'll need the large wire plug and the green wire harness since it will plug into the AM/FM antenna adapter. Now we can go back to the 4-in-1 antenna wiring and get it cleaned up. I found it was easy to run the wire along the path of the factory wires and into the dash. I zip tied all the wiring. If you're installing an aftermarket amp or amplifiers, I would suggest installing your remote and RCA wires at this time. I was connecting a subwoofer amplifier, so I did just that. For the remote turn-on the main wire harness, there is a short blue and white wire that says remote turn-on that you can use. I crimped an insulated spade connector to the amp turn-on lead and another spade connector onto the remote wire that I was going to run to the subwoofer amp. To help keep the wire harness tidy, I put some 3M double-sided tape on the MIC-1 and stuck it to the MRR module. Then I used Tessa tape to secure the RCAs together. I also did this for some of the other wiring and to help hold the MIC-1 and MRR modules together. With the wire harnesses finished, go ahead and unplug all the wires from the X10. Take the newly completed wire harness and plug it into the OEM wire harness. For aftermarket amps, plug in the remote turn-on and RCAs. In this install, I was only hooking up a sub-amp, so I only needed to connect my RCAs to the X10's green subwoofer RCAs. The AM/FM antenna's green plug will connect to the green OEM wire harness. After the wires have been connected, do the best you can to stuff the wires into the dash. I found I was able to hide a lot of the wires on the left side under the air vent. The long yellow and red wire will need to be ran down the right side of the dash to the glove box. The CAN bus wire harness in this vehicle was on the passenger side floor. Some information I found stated that it should be located on the driver's side floor or behind the glove box. You will need to unplug one of the CAN bus small white wire connectors. I chose the third connector on the right side, similar to the example in the wire guide. Then I plugged the yellow and red wires female connector into the CAN bus white male connector and the yellow and red wires male connector into the CAN bus green hub. After plugging in the wire, I cleaned it up by using zip ties. I also zip tied the remote and RCA wires that I ran to the subwoofer amplifier at this time. I will have a separate video going over that full install. Before going further, I decided to test the radio. Plug in the wiring to the back of the X10. Install the 4 7mm screws to hold the radio in the dash. Test all the features of the unit to make sure everything is hooked up correctly. The first app I tested was the Vehicle Control app. This app allows you to adjust the climate controls, gauges, parking assistance, and vehicle information. Next, I tested the AM/FM radio, the steering wheel controls, the Bluetooth, backup camera, and wireless CarPlay. Everything worked as it should, so I moved on with finishing up the installation. To remove the radio from the dash cage, I found I needed to remove a small screw at the top of the radio so the screen could be moved from side to side. Move the screen to one side, insert one of the removal tools. Move the screen to the other side and insert the other removal tool. Make sure to insert the tools all the way until it locks into the radio. Finally, pull on the removal tools to pull the radio out of the dash. There's another wire that needs to be installed, the USB cable. I used the USB 2 extended storage cable. This cable will be connected to the back of the radio and to the USB module in the lower storage bin. I laid the cable in place and reinstalled the DIN cage. So that the cables would stay in place, I put a small piece of Tesa tape on the wires to keep them together. Now you can reinstall the lower storage bin. Plug in the USB cable and the gray wire harness for the 12-volt power socket. Set the storage bin in the dash. Plug in the top wire harness. Finally, install the 4 7mm screws. With the storage bin installed, you can reinstall the shifter and center console cover. Place the shift knob over the shifter. Plug in the 2 wire harnesses and install the T25 torque screw into the shifter. Snap the center console cover back into place and close the center armrest. At this point, the dash cover can go back on. But as you'll see in the video, the way I installed the DIN cage and DIN pocket flush with the mounting brackets, it didn't allow for the two locking tabs to stick out past the dash cover, which meant the X10 couldn't be locked into place. I had to remove the dash piece and reposition the cage and pocket further out so that the tabs were positioned past the dash cover. Once the tabs were in the correct position, I secured the cage and pocket to the dash, plugged in the black wire harness to the climate controls, and snapped the dash cover to the dash. Before you install the head unit, you may need to adjust the screen up or down. I had to adjust the screen down. To do so, you'll have to pull off the two side covers located on the back side of the screen. You just need to unscrew the 4 screws, 2 on each side, that hold the screen in place and move the screen up or down. When you have the screen positioned where you want, screw the 4 screws back in and reinstall the 2 covers. Once you have the screen positioned correctly, you can plug in the wire harnesses and push the X10 into the DIN cage. Screw in the 2 locking screws in the top metal tabs, locking the head unit to the dash. Finally, reinstall the carpet if removed, the kick panel, the kick plate, side dash cover, door seal, and lower carpeted glove cover. Make sure to plug in the 2 wire harnesses for the lights. This completes the installation process. I couldn't be happier with how the installation process went and how good the new 10.1 floating ATOTO X10 looks. The screen looks so nice in the dash. It reminds me of a high-end OLED TV mounted in your dash. I'm really impressed with how fast the unit connects to my phone via wireless CarPlay. That's one option that I use every day, and I've dealt with issues with other OEM and aftermarket head units. Everything works as it should, and the operation system is snappy. ATOTO has done a really good job with this new X10. It's feature-rich, offers lots of connectivity options, and looks awesome. Check out this amazing unit by clicking on the link in the video description. One final note. The unit comes with a 31-band EQ, which I used in conjunction with my MIC-1 and REW software to tune the new subwoofer and factory front speakers. I didn't tune the rear speakers because the EQ is one that affects all the speakers the same. Unfortunately, it's not like a standalone DSP that allows you to tune each speaker individually. Also, I added a high-pass crossover to the factory speakers at 80 Hz and a bandpass crossover of 80 Hz low-pass and a 24 Hz high-pass crossover. The high-pass crossover acts as a subsonic filter for the ported enclosure installed in the Jeep. After tuning, the Jeep sounded really nice. I was able to flatten out the spikes in the subwoofer frequency response and smooth out the factory speakers a bit with a nice roll-off in the upper frequencies. The system could be turned up to 38 out of 40 with a strong, clean signal. The built-in DSP did a nice job of tuning the system. I was very impressed. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content.